right, good morning. Let's bring the music down a little bit. Maybe about there. We'll see how that goes. All right. So, happy Sunday. Sort of. Lost a. I guess I could have tried to go to sleep an hour earlier, but did not get the 8 hours I so crave. But anyway, here we are, waking up, have some coffee, and what are we doing? We are working on Glowing Telegram for at least a little bit longer. I have been thinking about a couple of things, some game dev stuff, maybe. I did have some ideas for like some Minecraft mod stuff, and there were some. There's still some interest, specifically in doing modding with Kotlin. That ever since I did that a couple of streams, it's been more than a year now. There's been some interest though, at least on the YouTube side of things. So maybe I'll go back to that. I'm not sure what I would do. Probably have to just like I didn't get very far into it. I have to go back from kind of the beginning and get things set up. So we'll see. But I do feel like this is the Glowing Telegram project is getting to the point where it's covering the gap that was there before, where it was 6 months ago versus today. The extra work of getting things into DaVinci Resolve and rendering and uploading is mostly covered. So I think we're getting close. So now I want to do some kind of cleanup activities, right? So there's some things that surfaced in, I think it was the last stream or maybe the stream before, where we have like a Docker file for every single Lambda, and every program basically has a separate Docker file, and I want to try to do what Brainless was suggesting the other stream, of just having a single Docker file with multiple target stages. Yeah, stages I think are the word. Anyway, and then so we're gonna, hopefully that won't take too long. I think that should be pretty quick. We just have to kind of consolidate things into one Docker file, and then I have a shell script that I use right now to trigger the build. I think one thing this might make easier is getting an actual proper build process in place, like in GitHub Actions or something, to trigger builds. So I haven't done that yet. It's do I have something about deploys in the backlog here? Oh, okay. So let's add something here that's just kind of figure out how we are going to deploy things for real versus what we're doing now, which is kind of just like, I do things manually. I would like to eventually have something where I can just push a code change, and maybe we have some checks, those tests that I haven't really done yet, and then it pushes out to what is production for me, right? I just have the one environment. I think I'm just calling it dev everywhere, but yeah, it's just for me. We only need one environment. It's fine. If things break, that's on me. So again, hopefully that won't take too long. I'm hoping we can knock out a few of these today, a few of these do next items. Show timestamp when moving mouse over to the timeline. So that's in our video editor component. Being able to have a way of seeing a timestamp as we're hovering over the timeline will be nice. There are effectively two timelines, right? There's the one for the actual video player, and there's the one that has all the data. So maybe do both of them. And then going back and trying for the first time in our backend, in our step function code, to try to use variables instead of passing state through. So that's a new thing for me. So we're kind of jumping off, between like DevOps, Docker stuff, and then front ends, and then back ends, AWS stuff. And then I'm gonna move this up. So one of the things that we introduced was the ability to create episodes from our video editor. And so that adds a cut list object to the episode record, but doesn't show up in the UI. So we can go back to the UI for that. And then I have an item here to clean up types, because things have gotten a little out of hand between our different repositories. And I would like to consolidate the definitions of types, maybe have everything defined via our JSON schema, if that makes sense. We'll see what types we need to consolidate when we get there. I don't know if we'll get that far down the list today, but that's kind of that's the hit list of things to do. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this, I'm going to convert to issue on glowing telegram, and we're going to say that's in progress, and that's going to let me over here issues, refresh. Come on, Dockerfiles, that one. All right. Just as a reminder of what I'm working on, although it's weird to put the text in that project, in that repo, but that's fine. This is the one we're working on, glowing telegram. All right. So what are we doing? So where's the Docker file going to live? Probably at the top level. We're going to make a Docker file. Yeah, and then it's going to yell at me, but that's fine. And then what we have is we have a bunch of Docker files, right? So like each one of these things has a Docker file, and they're all very similar, but slightly different. CDK doesn't, but like all of the things that result in a build artifact that gets deployed and pushed to ECR. I need to at some point figure out where something keeps on adding this front end directory. I'm not sure what. Let's see. Other things I need to do this morning. I probably need to have Docker desktop running. Why is... So at some point I will be switching to Linux. Because I don't intend to upgrade out of Windows 10, so that will be a great, well, not a day, a period of time. I need to figure some stuff out, but between now and then, I need to figure some stuff out. All right, so Media Lambda, we have a Docker file. Yeah, I guess even things where there's not a count. I mean, I think we could just put everything into one Docker file, right? Yeah. Oh, that's really weird. So I deleted these files, and now there are directories that exist there. There is... So I think this is something to do with how I have things set up in a project that no longer exists in Docker Desktop. Is that what's going on? Hold on, let's go in here. So, yeah. let's I'm gonna delete video processing project. I haven't run it in a long time. It's not a thing anymore, right? So I'm just gonna delete this. That's where that stuff is coming from. Goodbye. All right, it's gone. Now, can I please delete? Let's see. These are things that were files that were mounted into the project before. And so I think when Docker desktop comes up, it was like, oh, you have this project and it's not running, but let me make these things appear. What else? Front end. We don't have that anymore. All right. Let's see if they don't come back. Let's see. Okay, so media lambda, render job, is another one. Summarize transcription is another one. Twitchbot is not one yet. We're gonna come back to this. I did find tangent. I did find this learn OTP with Gleam repo. It's interesting as a tutorial because it's just like, here's some code with comments, but it's intended to kind of walk you through doing the what does OTP stand for in Erlang? OTP Open Telecom Platform, which makes sense in the context of where Erlang came from, but is kind of like they say here, it's a set of libraries for Erlang, the Erlang runtime system, and ready to use components for like managing running processes. And Gleam, someone wants me to check out Gleam at some point, so I do have this in the queued up. Okay, anyway, tangent over. Oh, right. What does that have to do with anything? Well, we built the Twitch bot in Elixir. I was thinking maybe consider doing it in Gleam instead. I don't know. We'll get back to it. We'll see. I think there was one other thing I was considering, which is how you can. There's another way of making things that respond to chat in Twitch, where it calls you, so you don't have to maintain a connection. Like, listen, you can get invoked. So that might be another option. Anyway, so what we're doing right now, though, is we're going through all the Docker files to figure out what we're doing. That's not a Docker file. Oops. Specifically, we want to make one Docker file that does all the things, and see how that is. See how we like it. Okay, so that's all the Docker files. And how are they different? Right? So, like YouTube Lambda here has a base stage, and then we use Chef to do things, and then we have a final stage where we in the build stage we do cargo build to build just YouTube Lambda, and then in the final stage we copy that binary to Bootstrap. So I suspect that most of these are going to be exactly the same, or should be, or it's like the exact same. At least all the Rust ones, right, are going to be the same all the way through the builder. And the difference with the builder will just be that we recently added this thing to, hey, only build the specific binary in question. So if we got rid of this, kind of what we reverted, what we added 2 streams ago, then all of these steps are the same for all of them, which is kind of telling. Okay, so audio transcriber is interesting. Interesting. We have an option to run tests. Why did we, I guess we didn't copy this forward in the other ones. This one, like CDs, like goes into the specific sub crate. Interesting. Okay, let's keep on looking. Let's keep on surveying. Yeah, otherwise the same. Media Lambda. So this one's just based off of the Lambda base image that AWS provides. Render job is very similar. This one has the test part. It's otherwise very similar. And then it does in the final stage, it does some things with apt-get to install things that it needs. Why did this need Python? Like, I don't think this is required. I'm not sure that curl is either. Just like, might as well while I'm reviewing these things, remove anything that stands out as not necessary. I'll make the final image for that particular job smaller. Okay, but yeah, they're all very similar. So I think what I'm gonna do, let's see, maybe audio transcriber. We're gonna take all of this, including the thank you. This is all based on the original Docker file that Brainless Society provided forever ago. Let's clarify some of the names of the stages though. Let's say yeah, we'll do that. Now, we don't really need to CD into the sub crate. That was never necessary. And so we'll just do this. We'll build all the things, yeah. Crates. And then we'll say, what do I want to say here? Not the final stage, because this Docker file, we're going to have a bunch of separate stages. So target stages for each binary. Something like this, right? Where it's going to be, yeah. So we can do that. And we're going to start with, we're going to go in alphabetical order here. So we might do that. Let's take a look at what we have here. So here, yeah, from base as final, and then copy, we do this, right? So from, interesting. Yeah, right. That makes sense, right? So like for the AI chat Lambda, we do these things. What's interesting about this is that if I were designing this, I might be inclined to say something like what the syntax should be is like output, something like that. That's not a valid instruction, right? But so basically this as says, hey, take whatever base image, do these steps until you I guess, get to another from, and that will be labeled as AI chat lambda, right? And then, so we're gonna do audio transcriber. What's convenient here is because I opened all the Docker files, they're in the open editors list, and they're alphabetical. So I can just use that as a reference. Now, audio transcriber is gonna be a little different. So we're done with AI chat lambda. We go over to audio transcriber. And this, we're gonna copy these steps. Here's a question. So in AI chat lambda, oh, I see. So for this, we ended up using the base image as what we're running in. Is that necessary? No. No. Yeah, let's do something different here. So in audio transcriber, we have this. I think what I'm gonna do, what can I do here? Like, I don't want to make a stage that has all this stuff, but if I'm going to, what is a good way of doing this? Let's do this. So I'm gonna take this, and we're gonna go up here to the top. And also this should be Rust base. That should be Rust chef. I missed these. Rust chef. But up here, what I can do is I can say, hey, go ahead and make a runtime stage from Debian. And then what we'll do for audio transcriber, what we want to do, what we want to do, I guess I don't really have a good end key from this mode, do I? That's a shame. Okay, from runtime as audio transcriber, right? And then somewhere in here, tell me somewhere in here we're copying from builder. Yes. Work dir, app audio transcriber, app target. Okay, where? All right, that's in. Yes, that makes sense. I think. Things I could do. I can definitely. It feels like this is something I could move up to where we're defining the runtime. I don't know if then this user variable would be available. Let's leave it for now, and then we can do more later, right? So at least we'll have like a standard runtime that we're using, and then we can base our audio transcriber off of it. Okay, so that should be good. Next is CRUD API. So we're done with audio transcriber. How does CRUD API work? Okay, this one. Oh, so one thing before we move on. If we go back to here, one thing we can do is we can say, actually, we want to have our distributable image based off of our runtime, right? And then we'll ship our Bootstrap program inside of it, rather than running off of the Rust base image. I don't know that there's nothing specific we need from the Rust base image for these, so I think it makes more sense to do this. And we'll see. We'll do all this and see how it comes out. So for CRUD API, something similar, and then it's just a lot of these are just going to be copy from builder, except it's going to be Rust builder. In fact, okay, cool. All right, so then media lambda, yeah, and that could be it, except it's not, because we are doing something different. For this media lambda, we'll ditch the comments. And the comments are just describing what they're kind of explanatory if you weren't familiar with Docker. But I mean, if you're reading this Docker file, you better already know what's going on. And what is lambda task root? What is something defined from the base image, I think. What's interesting is that would imply here that implies that we should be able to move this to runtime. What is it? No. F12, there we go. We should be able to do this. Base stages. For our Rust build pipeline. Okay. Okay. Right. So what I inferred from this, because, you know, I have a passing familiarity with how, let's make that a little bit bigger for you too. Passing familiarity with how Docker works and Dockerfiles work. But I can't say I know all the ins and outs of it. So what I've observed here, though, is that I didn't, in my Dockerfile that I know works, I didn't define lambda task root. I'm assuming there is an argument defined inside of this. That doesn't exist because it's an ECR, not a Docker Hub. Anyway, I'm assuming there's an argument defined in that base image, which implies, or I've inferred anyway, I feel like it implies that if you define an argument in a stage, like here, that if something uses that stage and builds off of it, those arguments are available, which answers my question of, hey, can I use $user in this for audio transcriber that's based off of runtime? So we'll see if that's true. We'll see. All right, so anyway, moving on. Next up is render job. So what are we doing in render job? Maybe this. Let's see. What does render job do? This is the one where we trimmed out things, but we just need this bit. We don't need to define user or UID. We shouldn't need to set work dir. We do that somewhere, right? Yeah, we do that there, and there, and there. It's probably fine. We're gonna find out once we start actually testing this. So all of this stuff is done by our runtime image layer. And then we just have to copy app render job and make that the entry point. So did that happen? I mean, we could call it bootstrap. I don't know that I want to do that. That like makes it look like it's a lambda, and it's not a lambda. And our existing like setup expects. Well, I guess it doesn't expect anything, right? Because it's defined by the entry point. So it could have been bootstrap. It's just we're doing that for the lambdas. This is not a lambda, so why have a consistency for it when they're different things? All right, so how does summarize transcription work? Okay, it's just this. And then we have the Twitch lambda. So Twitch lambda, yeah, it's just this. And then we have upload video. Okay, and this one is similar but different. Video ingester. Copy this bit. I wonder if it makes sense to do these two steps in the runtime, and assuming that things if we do that, then I think that for every single image we have to do these steps, even if we don't install anything. Is that worth it? So the issue is if we do this whole thing for every single image that needs that, we're repeating this for every single one. It's not going to be cached. Alternatively, you know what we can do? Let's just do it twice. Just do it twice, maybe. Maybe this will make sense. Just do like that. I don't know. Well, let's do that for now, and we can. I think a question is going to be: is it going to be overall more effective to just do this, like do the first two parts of this? Some testing will be required, I think. Anyway, moving on. We just need these two lines. That's fun. So wait. In the other one, I called it render job. And this one, I just called it runtime. This isn't a lambda, right? No, because it would be... Why is it different? Hold on. Let's just do this. Like if we're gonna have it be named after whatever, anyway. Overthinking things. Just overthinking things. All right, and then YouTube Lambda is the last one. And yeah, this one is fairly simple, like most of the Lambdas. All right, and so there is our new Docker file that contains all of these different targets. So how do we use it? Well, I have a shell script that does things called push image, which does more than just push the image. It does it logs into ECR and does things. But what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, you're going to go ahead and we don't even need this anymore because it's now just a single Docker file at the top level. Do we use okay, we're going to tag it. How do we target a specific stage? So we're using -t right now to tag the image based on the service that we're building. --target sets the target build stage to build. Okay. I mean, if we're going to do this, let's do --tag for this instead of -t. I'm going to do --target is going to be, ideally, it would be like serve. What did I actually end up doing? Yeah, it's like YouTube Lambda, video ingester. It's just based off of the name of the directory, right? Which should be the name of the service. So I think because we name things consistently, we should just be able to get away with doing this. Now here's the question, right? If I run push image, so first of all, tasks.json is how I normally run the script. Right, because it sets some environment variables for me. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do Control-Shift-P, run task, build and deploy container, and let's build CRUD API. Ooh, as and from keywords, casing, do something, something. Do not match. Oh no. Well, anyway, that's gonna build, and while that's building, I guess I will fix that so I don't see that warning anymore. Do I have a lowercase as somewhere? Or is it complaining about something not related to anything I've done? I don't see it. Line 122, G122. Ah. Okay. I'm fixed for the next run. All right, so context, 494 bytes of context, huh? There. From okay, so this is us grabbing the Rust base image and then the Debian one. And then we transferred 100 megabytes of context. So this would be like the, is that our source code? To be used for the copy into app. So what should be the case is the Rust planner and builder steps and runtime and all this stuff should be cached as we go from one build to another. So like this will take a little bit longer, but hopefully what we should see is when we do this again for a different target, when we'll pick something else, that like all of the rest of the stuff is cached, unless we were to change the our dependencies, right? If we were to change any of the cargo to tomls or the log files or any of that. So fingers crossed. And then that was our check to see if that argument was set to run the tests, and we said no. And now we're doing cargo build. So again, this should be cached, right? So once we've like done this for one image, all the other ones should have this layer being cached. And I guess I'm using the words layer. Well, let's see. Hey, here's a thought. Docker terms. Great, they have a glossary. No, they don't have a glossary. If you want to know something, ask AI. Well, all right, so here's some terminology I was looking for. So from creates a new build stage from a base image. Do they use the word layer? There we go. Right, so every time you run a command, just about everything you do in a Dockerfile creates a new layer. And then you could say a stack of layers can be it can compose a stage, right? Yeah, so the run instruction will execute any commands to create a new layer on top of the current image. That layer is used in the next step of the Dockerfile, right? So you're just putting layer on top of layer on top of layer as part of something where you're using somewhere you've used a from, which results in creating a stage composed of the layers that you define by using run and perhaps other commands like copy or add. Just double checking my terminology there. Okay. So this does compile all of our subgrades, right? So all of the things that are used as dependencies, like GTAxum and all of that, GTFFmpeg. So the stuff, the utility functions that we extracted out and that are shared between different lambdas or different batch job things. And so how long does this take? So it took 152 seconds to run cargo chef cook, which I guess essentially what that is doing is it's scanning across all of our dependencies and identifying what are all the external dependencies that all of the subcrates need. Okay, there we go. So that was the build process complete. It automatically, like, part of what the push image shell script does is it pushes the image to Elastic Container Registry in AWS for me. But yeah, so it takes 212 seconds to build the whole project. I'll wait for the push to finish, and then we'll see how long it takes. Like, almost all of that, except for that copy step, should be cached if we rerun it with a different target, right? Because we just compiled everything. There's nothing left to do other than build the other images, which is the point. right? So previously we did build and deploy container for credit API. Let's do that for, let's say Twitch Lambda. This one, like something broken. Something is broken. What is it? Failed to solve. Oh, right. Okay. So I have places where I say builder. They're supposed to be Rust builder. That's what I get for copying. That's what I get for renaming the name of the stage. Really. Okay. Cool. So if I do that again. Okay. Cargo build release was not cached. Why is that? Right, so everything up until this was cached, but Rust, the cargo build release was not cached. Why? I didn't change the name of this. What did I test first? I tested the CRUD API, and so this was already using from Rust Builder, or wouldn't have worked. Why isn't this cached? Step 6 for Rust Builder. Docker, why? Hey, I've been here before. Good old Stack Overflow. So very bright. Yeah, that's fair. You would think, though, that if it was the issue of files being changed, that this step wouldn't be cached either. It's not like it knows, like, that would do nothing. Pretty sure I also have a Docker ignore file that ignores the Docker file. Let's see. See, this statement here that, oh, using copy ... invalidates the cache doesn't really persuade me. Like, it's hard to believe because we have a run immediately after a copy and it is cached. So what is actually going on? I don't know. Let's just try again. Let's build more stuff. Let's try something that will be a little beefier. I think for summarized transcription, we are also... Yeah, look, okay. Oh, right. I did change the Docker file. So maybe in my .docker ignore, I'm not... Oh, yeah. I'm ignoring start Dockerfile and Dockerfile.star, but not Dockerfile. Also, please ignore .docker ignore. Okay, so that's what it was. I changed the Docker file and we were copying everything. For some reason, that didn't invalidate this step. Hey, Deflux. How's it going? Good morning. The clock says 9, but it's really still 8. Oh, going well. Good morning. Yes, indeed. Getting there. I think this is working now. So if I try this again, you install the Insider edition of VS Code. Yes, I have that as well. Because there was something that they added that looked cool just to play with GitHub Copilot 8. Oh yeah, agents. Yeah, that's what it was. I don't know. I should play with it more, I guess. I forget what I asked it to do, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess I should give it another try. I actually have it in my on my taskbar right next to normal VS Code is the Insiders edition, but I opened it once, maybe twice. Okay, so I think this is working. So what happened with this? So we did cache everything, and then wait. Okay, so what's one that does like a bigger or more complicated build? Audio transcriber. Audio transcriber does apt-get update and apt-get install. Actually, yeah, we don't need these steps anymore, right? Because we're doing that in the runtime stage, right? So apt-get anywhere we're doing that other than in the definition, we don't need anymore. So that'll save us a little bit of time. And Deflux said it works well. I know. If you know what you want, I had to write it out. Had it write out for me a whole C# DB context with models, like a code first database. Okay. Yeah, maybe I didn't have a very good idea of. I was just like, hey, let me try this out, and didn't really have something specific in mind at the time. So maybe I should give it another try. Okay, so if I do audio transcriber now, one, it should still cache. Well, it should break apparently, but it should cache the build. Well, it didn't get that far. So CA certificate says no installation candidate. Unable to look. Okay, so we should be able to do that. What's going on here? So in audio transcriber from runtime, oh yeah, okay, so let me just remove those and then try that again. Now, I think what that means by doing that is that some of the images are going to be bigger, unless I go through and add those things I just removed to all the things that use this runtime image. Okay, and that caused cargo build to get retriggered for some reason. All right, well, I gotta take an ad break, so I'll be back in a couple of minutes, and then we're gonna continue to work on this. So.